Greetings everyone, this is Vakar Corby from TFT Perspective, and today I'm going to discuss about the International Conference on Girl Education in Muslim Communities, Challenges and Opportunities. This was a conference recently held in Islamabad, which actually had a huge attendance from entire Islamic world and including their scholars. Now, basically, Islamic scholars and global reps gathered to issue a sounding call for equal education opportunities for girls in Muslim majority countries, declaring that obstructing girls' education constitutes societal bias against women and misrepresentation of Islamic teachings. Now, the appeal was also part of the Islamabad Declaration, a 9-page statement released at the conclusion of this 2-day international conference, which basically highlighted that girls or women education cannot be denied. Now, it was attended by 150 scholars, ministers, diplomats, and representatives from organizations such as the OIC, UNESCO, UNICEF, and the World Bank. The declaration also emphasized that restricting girls' education is a grave misuse of religious principles to legitimize policies of exclusion, and calling on all Islamic communities, Muslim communities worldwide, to address such iniquities. There was also, mentioned that coordinated effort needs to be done to uphold the rights to education for girls and to empower them, affirm the vital role of women in strengthening families and fostering stable societies. Now, the Taliban, whose basically policies banning girls' education beyond 6th grade in Afghanistan have drawn international condemnation. They were also invited, but naturally, they did not attend. In any case, had they attended, it would have been very, very embarrassing. With the declaration did not directly targeted Taliban. It criticized extremist interpretations of Islam that deny women education and called for action against such practices. It also mentioned the pursuit of knowledge is obligatory for all Muslims, men and women, and this is enshrined in Islamic teachings that even if you have to go to China to get education, you must go. And there is no gender bias. The statement also affirmed rejecting justification for ban on education as antithetical to Islamic principles. So here I think it's very, very clear that who is the outcast or the Khawarij. Unfortunately, this name props up again and again. That on one side we have 57 Islamic countries, and they are definitely governed by Islamic laws and, of course, modern laws. How come Taliban could have their interpretation of Islam and then impose it on 40 million people and especially 20 million women folk? One of the keynote speakers was Malala Yousafzai, the Nobel laureate, who basically survived an assassination attempt by Taliban when she left Pakistan. And she delivered a very powerful speech. She condemned the Taliban policies and expressed solidarity with Afghan women and girls. I think this has been very, very courageous stance by her. And she also mentioned that Afghan women and girls must be free to shape their own future. Ms. Yousafzai also mentioned that Muslim leaders should amplify the support for girls' rights, especially in Afghanistan. So it means that now there will be extreme pressure on Taliban. He also mentioned that what has happened to Gaza, the Palestinian as a whole, and especially children whose schools and institutions have been destroyed. And there's a genocide which was basically conducted. A good thing was that ex-Afghan President Hamid Karzai also joined the chorus. Although the statement came from Kabul, he basically urged Taliban to immediately reopen schools and universities for girls, marking his latest in a series of appeals to prioritize female education, and he has been very, very vocal. Karzai actually welcomed the declaration of the Muslim World League conference in Islamabad, which underscored the importance of addressing barriers to girls' education in the Islamic world. He called on Taliban to heed these principles and act swiftly. So I think these are some of the very strong voices against Taliban directly. And good thing is that the message is now coming from one of their brothers in Islamabad. I think the most important part of this conference was attendance by Muslim World League Secretary General Sheikh Mohammed bin Abul Karim Al Issa, who has been, I think, exponent of ijtihad in Islam and adjusting Islamic principles according to the cause of the time. And he also basically said that pledged to enshrine the declaration of Global Summit Islamabad on girls' education in Muslim countries as a constitutional document that will be issued. I think this was a very, very strong message. Dr. Isa also emphasized the significance of a diverse group of Islamic scholars present, including representatives from International Islamic Fiqh Academy, in solidifying a unified Islamic stance supporting girls' education. So I think this was indirectly pointing that religion and religious principle cannot be monopolized by a group of people in modern time. He asserted that declaration counters misconceptions and provides a definitive statement, thereby preventing any single entity from misrepresenting Islam on this issue. I think entire world knows that who is basically trying to monopolize and doing selective interpretation. It is Afghan Taliban. There's been global calls for Taliban, especially the restrictions on women. It's not only education; they are prevented from going outside in the parks. They are even not allowed to actually sing or talk loudly. And now there was also, something related to, windows opening in markets. So those will be shuttered. So practically, Taliban are pushing Afghanistan into the Stone Age. Cautioning against extremist ideologies, the declaration said that issuing decrees and opinions rooted in cultural norms and patterns that obstruct girls' education constitute a regrettable perpetuation of social biases against women. So basically, it also mentioned that grave misuse of religious principles to legitimize policies of deprivation and exclusion will not be allowed. So I think this was very, very clearly, message for Taliban, the way they are handling it. So when you say Khawarij or people ostracize, who are those? Who basically either break away from a main group. So now we can look at that how come Taliban could have their own interpretation and then shove almost 20 million women and their children into the homes and literally denying them for last 3 years no education. So I think it's a huge crime that they are committing against humanity. I feel that Taliban government or regime in Afghanistan is one, it is scared of any reaction, especially from the women folk, and they are also now becoming extremely isolated. So it's entirely up to them that if they want to follow this path, most probably they'll be outcast and ostracized from the Islamic world. The only problem is that Islamic world and Pakistan cannot, abandon 40 million Afghan people. Taliban could be in a couple of thousands, or let's say more than 100,000, but Islamic world and Pakistan cannot punish the Afghan people. So that, I think, relationship has to continue, that support has to continue. But definitely this conference should motivate Taliban, that should start behaving like a normal state in case they have got the government now and the writ of the state as they claim, that they should start behaving like a normal Islamic country. They should not push the Afghan woman into Stone Age. Thank you very much.